Tyler.
Tyler.
Muted, bro.
That's the first time that's happened in a long time. Well, okay.
Honestly, I was like, you know what? I could tell him right now, or I could wait a little bit.
I could wait
longer
a second.
See if he notices.
That was fun. That was fun. Hey, at least it didn't happen when I was on Sports for Cleveland, or that would have been really
That
fun.
would have been really funny.
Anyway, welcome to tonight's edition of the Faithful Dogs podcast. I am Tyler Johnson. Great intro. Joined by Zach DeFranco, Jack Robinson. Gentlemen, how are we doing this evening?
Hey, Tyler, I'll give it to you. You're still doing better than me. Coming off 2 weeks of like taking a little Browns vacation talk, from talking Browns. Hey, you're still doing better than I would. I would have still been muted.
Jack, how are you doing, man?
Man, I'm just happy to talk about more football.
It's been a little while. It's been kind of a nice break, though. I'll say that. It's been nice.
Yeah, definitely needed a little bit of a breather.
There's all kinds of news there, Browns-wise, to actually get to, believe it or not. So, nice change of pace. Before we get to any of that, guys, if you're joining us on Facebook or Twitter and not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, remember, go over to YouTube, subscribe for free. We're trying to reach 2,000 subscribers here before the end of the spring. You helped us reach our goal of 1,000. We really appreciate that, and we're going to continue to have more and more giveaways on the channel. If you want to be eligible for that, make sure you are a YouTube subscriber. Again, free, easy to do. Also, be sure the content that is coming from Network 216 that you're dropping a like on the video. That way you can help the channel algorithm grow and help Network 216 grow overall. Before we get to some Browns talk, have to take a second here from our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy.
What's up, everybody? We know that daily fantasy never stops, and Network 216 is proud to be a partner with Underdog Fantasy. Very simple to use. All you have to do is go to underdogfantasy.com, and you will just click the sign in button. You'll create an account if you haven't done so already. If you've not created an account, it'll ask you to enter a code. Enter code 216, and they will double your first deposit up to $100. Underdog Fantasy, live draft lobbies that you get to compete with you and your friends. It's no salary cap like DraftKings and FanDuel. You get to go to a draft lobby, pick the players you want, or you can do daily pick'ems, which give you access to all the NFL and NBA games for you to make your picks every single night. Again, go to underdogfantasy.com or use the Underdog Fantasy app on iOS or Android. Use code 216 to double your first deposit up to $100. Sign up today.
And gentlemen, the first piece of news actually happened yesterday. I would say to this date, it's probably the biggest amount of news for the Browns, at least player-wise. The Browns have decided that they are going to part ways with John Johnson III, making him a June 1st cut. What this means essentially is that the Browns will get $9.75 million in cap space, but that will not be reflected until June 2nd. So first off, your thoughts on releasing John Johnson and what it means for the Browns moving forward.
Well, it just means that they have another hole they need to fill. I think that it means that they have a big hole that they need to fill. It's obviously a position that they really have already struggled to fill. And this is obviously a guy who I think that they really had hopes could fill the position long term. That's why they gave him that contract. That's why they gave him that's why they brought him in from the Rams a couple of years ago. And the thing is, he sounded like he wanted to come back and really try to establish himself at the position. So seeing him go is definitely unexpected. Or I guess for us, it was expected. But it does mean that they are going to have to really address that position alongside a lot of the other positions on defense that we expect them to go after.
I just feel like, I don't know. I guess I can see what you're saying. Like, on the unexpected part is like he was kind of like a vocal leader. Like, he was not scared to speak his mind in any situation.
He talked a lot, but
like,
he also sounded like he wanted to come back. So
but the results on the field prove that he didn't really want to come back, and actually earn it. So no, I think we're gonna start clearing some cap space. I'm sure there's gonna be some more moves, especially like restructures obviously are gonna happen. But for the production he was giving, there was really no use for him being on the roster. And it sounded like AB kind of went over that with Schwartz too. So kind of seemed like it was a Schwartz decision as well. One of his first moves as defensive coordinator when it comes to roster moves.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Kind of like you said, Zach. Andrew Berry even said such that Jim Schwartz that coordinators have an absolute say in potential roster moves that are made in some cases, and this was one of them. I think overall, John Johnson's tenure in Cleveland, it was not worth the money that they paid. We never saw the best of John Johnson. We saw flashes, but I would say it's more on Joe Woods, defensive coordinator, because you brought in a guy like John Johnson III. You had you have Grant Delpit. They were never going to mesh together because they play the same position. And ultimately, I mean, Joe Woods didn't get the best out of him. So I would chalk it up to Joe Woods. And when Andrew Berry goes out now, it's a talent like John Johnson III, because we saw what he did in LA. And I do think he can replicate that somewhere else if he's in the right, like playing the he's comfortable with. It just didn't work out. I wouldn't say like it was necessarily like a bust for the Browns. He was never the star player we all hoped. But like you said, Jack, now you have to fill that position and you have to go out and get yourself a true free safety. So the Browns are going to go out and get a safety in some capacity. They might add two. They really should add two. If you're the Browns, let's be reasonable with some expectations on this, Jack. Who would you target if you're Andrew Berry to fill that role?
I mean, I think that obviously the one person that everyone's talking about is Jesse Bates from the Bengals. I mean, that's kind of like the number one target. He's a really good scheme fit. He's obviously shown that he can be an elite safety in this league, and he's likely going to not be re-signed by the Bengals just because of all the other players that they have to worry about signing. So I think Jesse Bates is definitely probably the number one target that Andrew Berry is looking at least at the moment.
What's his market value at, you think, this year? Like
it's 15 million or above. This is the problem with Jesse Bates, and like, hey, we all would love Jesse. I'm right up there. I would love him too.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, like, we're gonna create cap space. There's no doubt. But I think what a lot of us like, and I forget it from time to time too, when I'm just talking to people about this. The Browns are gonna open up probably about 50 million in cap space. They're gonna use maybe 30 of that because Andrew Berry likes to roll over about 15 to 20 million every single offseason. If you go out and get Jesse Bates, that's a big chunk. And let's say the Browns want to roll over 20 million of that 50, you have 15 million left. If you go out and get Jesse Bates, I mean that's the problem. And as Jack Duffin, who cap analyst for the OBRs, pointed out, the Browns are paying more players over 10 million than any other team in the NFL. They have 11 players making over 10 million or more. The next closest is 7.
Analytics. So, I like that.
It's tough, man.
He's aggressive.
Love Jesse Bates.
He's still aggressive.
Do you think it's real? Do you think it's realistic? Is Jesse Bates realistic? That's what I'm trying to like. Do you guys?
I feel like out of all the biggest moves that we made, I feel like Jesse Bates is the most realistic.
I wouldn't be surprised if it happens.
Yeah.
Like I think if they're, because obviously I think we're going to see a lot of investment in the defense in the offseason, because obviously that was the biggest point of contention last year. And I guess it really just depends how deep into free agency does Jesse Bates even last, and what other position people, especially at like D tackle or linebacker, or just what other free safeties hit the market that the Browns could look at, and how much are they going to cost, and how much. I'm sure Andrew Berry's already doing all that stat crunching already, just trying to figure out who can he afford, if he assumes obviously that all of these contracts are going to be fully guaranteed completely, so that way they can open up more cap space. Who's going to be probably the best available option in terms of just being able to financially afford them.
Mary Kay Cabot, I mean, and others, Jeff Lloyd's pointed out, James Rapin, who covers, and I might be saying his last name wrong, covers the Bengals, has said the Browns would be an option for Jesse Bates. Mary Kay Cabot has covered it. She also said the Browns were interested in Daron Payne. Obviously, he's been franchise tagged, which I find interesting. We'll get to that in a minute for a reason why I find it interesting already. But I think, guys, as much as it'd be awesome to have Jesse Bates, I do agree he's probably, of all the big-name free agents, he's the most realistic, because I think we know that Andrew Berry values defensive backs and values the secondary more than he does, the line. That said, if a D-end becomes available, someone gets cut, maybe they shock us all and they look at Yannick Ngakoue will hit free agency again. He's not going to be back with the Colts. They have to add someone to Myles Garrett, and I do think he would love to solve that position. I don't know. I think realistic options are Marcus Epps. He has a previous history with Jim Schwartz. He's not going to break the bank price-wise. Same with Rodney McLeod, previous history with Jim Schwartz. You're looking at guys. Juan Thornhill's my dream. You can get him for about $6 million, but I think the Chiefs are going to find a way, from what it sounds like, to retain him. I mean, okay, let's make a prediction since this is fun. We're on Jesse Bates right now. Jesse Bates becomes a Cleveland Brown, yes or no?
No.
I don't think he ends up as a Cleveland Brown. I think someone else is going to pay him big money.
It's going to be Atlanta. I think Atlanta is going to go big after him, and I think they're going to go big after Hargrave because Atlanta has an opportunity to win that division. They're not. Yeah. They just need some more talent over there, and they have a ton of cap space to make it happen. Keep in mind, Bates, one of his former position coaches, is actually in Atlanta, and and Atlanta thinks they're getting Jesse Bates, so it'll be interesting there.
I like the Yannick move though. I like going after Yannick this year, replacing Clowney with Yannick.
That would be fun.
I take that. Wow.
That would be fun, man. I've been a fan, dude, but like the way his contracts have been structured have been interesting. He keeps taking these cheap deals or these contracts that make it to where the team can get out of it. He's still producing, but it just makes you wonder why his contracts are being structured the way they are. He's moved from a couple teams, man, if you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think overall, going now to this next guy, Daron Payne. The reason I find Daron Payne interesting, why would you franchise tag somebody this early? You have 14 days before you have to apply the franchise tag. Do you see the possibility of Daron Payne being traded? Because you can trade somebody that's on the tag. That's why you would tag them this early.
Mm-hmm.
That is, I didn't really think about that, honestly. Like, why would they tag him so early? Maybe they're just trying to see what they could possibly get for him. Just see, like, hey, he's technically available. So if someone wants to call, I don't think he's really actually available. I would think that if he was actually available, they probably would have made that more readily known. But I think that is an interesting point, that they did make him technically, a trade target by putting him on the franchise tag. But I don't think he's getting moved in either way.
Washington doesn't have a quarterback, and that's why I get why they're spending that kind of money.
They have Heineke.
Huh?
They have Taylor Heineke.
Actually, they have Sam Howell. Anyway. Anyway, you're paying Jonathan Allen nearly $20 million a year. You got Chase Young on a 5th-year option. You're gonna have to pay him. If you give Daron Payne the same amount of money, give him $20 million a year, I don't know. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't really understand what Washington. I get he's a good player, but is he a product of the talent around him, or is he actually this good? When you have Jonathan Allen right near you and Chase Young and all this other Montez Sweat, are you really that good and worth $20 million a year, or are you a product of the players that are around you?
I definitely think he's a good defensive tackle. Like I definitely think he's good, but yeah, dude, I don't see any GM in the NFL paying that much on just their defensive line alone. Because like you said, Chase Young too is still coming up. That would make sense to trade him, signing him this early. That would make a lot of sense.
Well, I'm curious what the asking price would be for him.
I'm curious what the asking price would be for Chase Young.
Oh God,
dude, I'm really not kidding. Like if they do extend Daron Payne, something's got to give at some point. Like they have to move somebody. Like Montez Sweat's going to need a new contract too. Like they're in a position right now. Someone's got to go on that D line. Is it Chase Young or is it Daron Payne? It's not Sweat, and I don't think it's gonna. And it's obviously not Jonathan Allen. So who's it going to be? I would inquire about Chase Young if I'm Andrew Barry. I really would. That's not the most outrageous thing, and it would make a lot of sense. Man, Chase Young and Myles Garrett.
Oh my goodness, dude!
That would be scary.
Dude,
that's
that
a
would be
cheap. Now
fun.
you're playing Madden. Now you're playing Madden.
Now you're actually playing Madden.
Yeah.
Hey, man, if depending on what happens with Deron Payne, Chase, it's not the first time I've seen people have mentioned Chase Young could be available if they extend Deron Payne. It's a lot of money to pay for a D-line. Real quick, I saw Jay Cleveland here asking about Tyler Scott, Cincinnati wide receiver. Tyler Scott's not going before 42, regardless of how he does at the come. I think he'll be there in the second round. If the Browns want him at 42, they can get him. We'll see.
Josh Downs.
Anyway, gentlemen, free agency is only, we are 14 days away. Actually, from the legal tampering period, even though it's going on this entire week, we're 12 days away. Okay. Who are some players you'd like to see the Browns sign? First off. And then after that, we'll actually give some predictions on who we think they will realistically sign. So, Zach, who are some players that you would like to see the Browns sign that would fit within the projected amount of salary cap space they would have?
Well, then I have a question for you. What do you think Ngakoue would make on the market?
Ngakoue's probably making over $10 million a year. Maybe, I would say $10 million a year, and he's probably making even more than that. It kind of just depends on because who all from DNs are going to be on the market. You have Marcus Davenport, you have Clowney, you have Charles Amenihu, who I pronounced his name, absolutely butchered it. Arden Key, you have him on the market. Samson Ebukam, you have him. And Ngakoue is projected about $12.5 million a year at this point, according to Pro Football Focus. So, what do you?
I just really want us to bolster the defensive line this year. I think you could draft for the future at wide receiver, like we've been talking about for a while. I also think if Andrew Berry really wants to, he could make a deal for like Brandon Cooks, deal with Houston again this offseason, something like that. But I really just want us to bolster the defensive line. I like Sheldon Rankins. We've been talking about him a lot too. Just someone that can instantly pair up with Miles and make a difference and help Miles out a little more. That's all I really care about right now. Is, but we'll see as time goes. But right now, I just care about bolstering the defensive line.
What about safety?
Yeah, I mean, you have to. You have to now because of the John Johnson move. You have to. So I like Jordan Poyer. I like Jesse Bates. So someone like that, I think, would be an instant upgrade over what we have with John Johnson.
Absolutely. Jack, who are some players you'd like to see the Browns add in free agency within the projected salary cap space that we will probably have, which will be around $50 million?
Well, it's going to be difficult because I'm just not really sure how they want to attack the draft, like whether they'd want to draft more towards defense or more towards offense. Because we've been talking a little bit about, do they want to go after a veteran receiver in free agency? Do they want to go after a Robert Woods, maybe a DJ Chark? I really like DJ Chark. I really like Robert Woods. I know that, Andrew Berry was really into, he was really inquisitive on asking about Robert Woods from LA. So that was one of the things that he might be looking into again now that he's again a free agent. I'm not sure exactly how much Robert Woods is going to demand on the market, especially after such a bad year in Tennessee. So I think that if you brought him in on a pretty affordable contract for a wide receiver, maybe somewhere in the 9 to 10, maybe 11, like if you really want to get up there for a 31-year-old receiver who can, he's done it all in the league. He's a very solid receiver. I think that would be a really good place to start. Just that way you at least know that you have a really good wide receiver room to start out with Amari Cooper, with DPJ, assumingly, and with Robert Woods. And then maybe we can start to look at some better defensive tackle, or maybe even a safety prospect in the first couple of rounds in the draft.
Like it, man. I'm definitely not against Robert Woods. I think for me, if I could pick one dream free agent signing, I think it would be Jesse Bates. I would love Draymond Jones. That's just not going to happen. There's no chance that happens. But if I had some guys I would like, if you guys have watched the free agent targets every Monday, Sheldon Rankins was on it. I mean, pretty much anybody that's been on so far the video series is who I would say. Sheldon Rankins makes way too much sense at his particular price point at $6 million a year. That price point might drastically change with so many D tackles projected not to even reach free agency. So I would say Sheldon Rankins as of right now. I would also say Juan Thornhill at free safety to me. I don't think he'll hit the market, but if he does, it's a no-brainer. And if he for some reason, and then if he doesn't hit the market, Marcus Epps. As far as defensive end, this is where it comes down to if the Jets cut Carl Lawson. The Jets cut Carl Lawson, and you can get him into a similar situation as when the Browns got Jadeveon Clowney, and you can add him for about $8 to $9 million for 1 year. I'm going after Carl Lawson. Also, I believe the Browns will pursue, and Jack Duffin's mentioned this a lot, DeMarcus Walker from Tennessee makes a lot of sense. Those are the 4 guys I would say, and all make a lot of sense for the Browns, and you would have a revamped defense pretty quick.
Yeah, and that's literally all I care about this offseason. And I think Andrew Berry will still be aggressive. I really do. I don't think he's proven us otherwise. He just kind of makes those quiet moves. Like that Amari Cooper move, I really did not expect last offseason when that happened. And for what we got him for. So Andrew Berry is he's definitely, I think that's his main concern right now is addressing the defense, because you went all in on your quarterback last offseason. Now it's kind of just building that defense, a championship caliber defense. And it started with Jim Schwartz becoming your defense coordinator, proven in the league, going to have a culture there now. So we'll see, man. I just really want to see us just attack defensive line first.
Yeah,
even if it's not overpaying, I'm sorry, but even if it's not overpaying, just seriously, just 2 dudes instead of just, ignoring it completely and just relying on rookies.
Yeah. Hey, man, I'm with you. I mean, I've really learned a lot just from studying different people and how they view free agency, the draft. And when you realize that, I mean, it's great to have star players, but when you don't have just consistent, solid players across the board at every position, going after just pretty good, solid football players, if you can go out and get 4 or 5 of those for the defense instead of getting a star and 2 players, you can go get 5 or 6 solid players. Sign me up for that. Rain Neckful said D tackle in free agency, DN, safety, and wide receiver in the draft. I think D tackle obviously will be addressed in free agency. I think they could sign 2 guys. It has to be a veteran. You can't draft another guy. You have to get a veteran there. DN, safety, wide receiver in the draft.
At safety, you think, or defense tackle?
Defensive tackle, you have there's no you need a veteran in that room.
You need somebody that immediately takes pressure off Miles, because it's
more drafting. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
I think against drafting somebody, but you have to already have 1 or 2 veteran guys that you have.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. We all love Alex Wright.
It might be changing.
We all love these guys that they're building, they're getting better every year, and obviously they're going to their second year. But you need somebody who's going to make instant impact, and I just don't know if Alex Wright is ready to take that step in year 2.
I don't either.
I'm not saying,
and that's why you would.
I'm not saying
that's why you would be careful of who you bring in.
Yeah, and I'm not saying this is happening, but if you're Miles, after 5-6 years now with us, and really no help really around you that was consistent. I think the best help you really had outside of Clowney was Richardson. So if you put players around Miles, keep him happy too, because you don't want to lose Miles. That's you don't want to piss him off. That's generational talent right there.
A guy that's intriguing, whether he'll be realistic remains to be seen. I've covered him. Marcus Davenport has the physical tools you're looking for at defensive end, and former first-round pick. It's going to depend on price with him, but him and Miles, that would be a lot of fun for sure. He also mentions Dalvin Tomlinson. So, yeah, Rainneck, it looks like he's not going to hit free agency. The Vikings are trying to rework that contract in order to keep him. I think he'll end up staying. It makes a lot of sense for them to keep him, especially with the Vikings being a playoff team and whatnot. They might move on from Zadarius Smith after 1 year. That's another name to keep an eye on if they do for the Browns, because the Browns tried to sign Zadarius Smith but ended up costing too much. So Dalvin Tomlinson. See, that's the problem. Deron Payne probably off the board. Dalvin Tomlinson probably off the board. The next guys are Javon Hargrave and Draymond Jones.
I like Javon Hargrave had 11 sacks as defensive tackle, dude. I'll take Javon Hargrave.
Yeah, I would take him. At $20 million a year at 30 years old, I would be absolutely shocked.
You think that's what he's going to make? You think he's going to make 30 or 20 million? Jeez.
Yeah, his projected contract, man, is just absolutely nuts. It has him in the 18 to $20 million range. I mean, he's not going back to Philly. He's not going they're already prepared to move on. I mean, they drafted Jordan Davis for a reason. So they're moving on without Javon Hargrave. That contract is nuts. Keep an eye on what the Colts do. I mentioned it, and again, I'm not saying it's going to happen. DeForest Buckner, the Colts can free themselves of over $20 million in cap space if they move DeForest Buckner, either in trade or cut him. If he hits the market, he is the type of player I would go after on the defensive line. Myles Garrett would have a star next to him.
Outside defensive line and safety, do you think they look at linebacker at all? Upgrading that position? Because I think Anthony Walker's back, right? I think he.
Let's actually do that real quick. Stay or go. Anthony Walker.
Stay. I want him to stay. Before that injury, he was happy. He was going to have his best year in Cleveland before that.
Sione Takitaki, stay or go?
Stay.
That depends on Jim Schwartz's kind of style right there, man.
That's true, but I do think that he will stay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think him?
Okay, then Deion Jones, stay or go?
I think he's gonna go because he made it clear kind of when we traded for him that he didn't want to stay here long term.
Yeah.
When did he say that?
I think he'll be back.
I missed that.
Because remember they renegotiated his contract. He had like 1 or 2 more years left on the deal.
Oh yeah, and he could become a free agent right after.
Yeah, right? And he negotiated to basically get all that stuff voided.
I think he wants to be a free agent after. I think he wants to test
after his injury, man. He wants to see if he can make some money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He got like one more chance, basically. So
I don't think, Zach, that they're going to go big. If they did, David Long makes the most sense in the world, considering he just played under Schwartz in Tennessee. That's probably not going to happen because he's going to be very expensive. But if they went linebacker, David Long would make a ton of sense. I would love Levante David, just from a leadership perspective. I mean, he is older, mind you. He's 33. But, dude, I mean, man, if you could find a way to get him on a 1-year contract, you could sign me up for Levante David. I just don't see it. If you're looking at younger linebackers, Tremaine Edmonds is going to be out of the price range.
Do you think so? So do you think Buffalo retains him?
He's projected nearly $18 million a year.
Where are you seeing these projections, bro? Is that
PFF? Yeah, Pro Football Focus. TJ Edwards, from Philadelphia, but he won't. I mean, dude, some of these linebackers are ridiculous. The one that I would be intrigued with, and another former first-round pick, is Leighton Vander Esch from the Cowboys. His projected value is only about $6 million a year. So, a guy that I suggested was Zach Cunningham from the Titans. Keep in mind injury history. Same with Leighton Vander Esch. But if you look at Cunningham, he's played the same amount of games as Jacob Phillips. So, would you rather roll with someone that's familiar with Jim Schwartz, or would you rather run it back again with Jacob Phillips? That's what you would have to ask yourself. Cunningham would be dirt cheap. So you would have to just ask yourself how you want to move on there. Okay. Wrapping things up, guys. Let's make us some predictions here. Who do the Browns sign as free agents? As we're wrapping up the show. Not necessarily who you want. Who are some names you think that they will actually end up signing? This is fun because we can look back on this and see if we got any correct.
Oh my goodness, dude.
I'm gonna go last. I have the best for last.
All right. Gosh, dude. Dude, that's
okay. I'll go. No, listen. I mean, I have all kinds of names. All right, Sheldon Rankins, I think, becomes a Brown. You guys have to keep in mind if it's a former first-round pick, and they might be in a decent price range. Andrew Berry is going to try. We've seen it every year. He's always going after a former first-rounder. It's not going to be the only former first-rounder he goes after either.
Former first-rounders.
Yeah.
So
Sheldon Rankins
who's the guy
will be a Brown.
Who's the guy we signed last year, defensive tackle? I already forgot his last name, dude.
Taven Bryan, former first-round pick.
Yeah. Is he a free agent or is he back?
He is a free agent. He could be back. He didn't cost a lot. He only cost $3.5 million. He's not even on Pro Football Focus top 100. I mean, understandably so. But he could be back, man. I mean, especially if I think they're going to move on from Jordan Elliott. I really think that. They could also move on from Togia, and it wouldn't surprise me. Like, I think they're going to completely overhaul that room. So, Sheldon Rankins, I think, is a good start as far as rebuilding that.
Oh,
You want me to give another one?
How many do you have in your?
I'll say I think that they are going to get one of Robert Woods or DJ Chark. I think they're going to try to get one of these veteran wide receivers. I really think they do, because I feel like he wanted Robert Woods last year. He didn't get him. I mean, I don't know how much they're going to trust another rookie wide receiver again. Obviously, the second round, maybe they feel like they have better options there. But at the same time, I mean, I feel like they need a third guy at wide receiver, because they just don't. I don't know if they still know what they have. Obviously, they don't know what they have with Schwartz. David Bell.
There's 3 locks on that roster. There's 3 locks.
Yeah.
Cooper, DPJ, and David Bell. That's it. Everyone else, and that includes Shaquem Grant, and congratulations to him that it looks like he might be back next year.
Thank God.
That's awesome for him, the fact that the guy's going to play football again. But you have 3 locks at wide receiver right now. Jack, to your point, about the draft, I don't think it's one or the other. I think they're going to double dip. I think they're going to bring in somebody, and I would hope they trade, and they're going to draft somebody, and I think it'll be early. I think wide receiver at 42, or
if Josh Downs is there, if Josh Downs is there at 42,
Josh Downs is there, I would flip. Or Tyler, give me Josh Downs, Tyler Scott,
Tank Dell. I like Tank Dell.
Be there. Huh?
Do you think
I like Tank Dell? I just don't know if I like him at 42. Now trade down, because I think that's in play. I think they're going to trade down.
Trade down is always in play with Andrew Berry. It's the worst, man.
Well, now that we don't have first rounders, he might want.
He's just building his value back up. Yeah.
Yeah. They'll make a trade in this draft. So, Jack, here's my thing about Robert Woods. I agree with you. I think Robert Woods is absolutely realistic for sure. It's going to, again, come down to price point, because now Robert Woods is considered one of the top wide receivers on the market. It's the same with DJ Chark. DJ Chark is a seamless fit for what we need. You have the injury history, and you have the fact that he might be making $15 million a year on the open market. So then, Jack, if you go with Chark, what are you doing with DPJ long term?
Yeah,
Robert Woods, sign me up, man. Sign me up for Robert Woods.
Mm-hmm.
I think he goes back to LA though.
Or Andrew Berry decides to blow everyone out of the water. He did it last year. He trades the farm for Deshaun Watson. Give the second round pick. They send it out to Arizona to the rebuilding Cardinals, and they give him up for DeAndre Hopkins. Hold on. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there's a chance and you're telling me there is a chance that it could happen. What do you say, Tyler?
Jim Carrey would be real proud of us, man. I'm not against Hopkins. Here's the thing: I'm not against DeAndre Hopkins, because I've been asked this a couple times on various shows, Twitter. I'm not against Hopkins, man. I just don't see it. If we didn't have Amari, I'll be honest, I would put probably $20 down on us acquiring DeAndre Hopkins. it's going to be very difficult. And he doesn't have a no trade clause. He can't force his way here. Arizona can take the best offer they get, and I don't know if that's going to be from Cleveland. I think Billy
and Watson, though. Him and Watson are hanging out, man. Watson, Hopkins, and Jalen Ramsey are all hanging out. I think they're building a super team in Cleveland.
Hey man, apparently Deshaun's hanging out with Deshaun or with DeAndre sometime this weekend, man.
Watson's,
that's what I heard.
Watson's hanging out with himself.
Did you guys hear Quincy Avery?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
If you listen to the clip, Watson, obviously he makes no secret he'd love to play with Hopkins, but he also understands.
He talks about how he understands how it's a business. It's a business. Like, it doesn't just work like that. And Tyler, me and you were told that Watson isn't like that. He's not demanding, I want this player here. I want, he isn't doing that.
That's good, man.
Barry. Yeah.
And it's good that he's not like that, or else it just causes too many issues.
Look, man, you don't have to go after DeAndre Hopkins, but it'd be way cooler if you did, man. You should go.
Dude, listen. Sign me up. Seriously. Sign me up. If they can find a dude, if Hopkins takes a pay cut.
I think if Andrew Barry could find a way, he would do it. I think if
I agree.
He would do that. He would definitely do that. He wants to build the team around Watson still, but Watson's not demanding it, is what we're saying. We were told he's not like that.
Yeah.
All right, Zach, give us somebody. Jack and I have given a few. I have another name too.
Okay, Tyler, but I'm with you because I even watched your video on him. I like Sheldon Rankins. I like him for the price you can get him at. Good upgrade defensive tackle. I like Sheldon Rankins. That's my most realistic right now. If we don't get Jesse Bates, I want Jesse Bates.
I do too. Here's the thing. I want every big name free agent. I just know we don't have $100 million in cap space like that. See, dude, here's the thing. The Bears can really just screw up all of our plans if they just go after every big name defensive free agent and just overpay out the wazoo for him. That's what I think Bears have happening. They've over $100 million in cap.
Yeah.
Like Jacksonville.
And they can trade that if they want to.
Dude, honestly, them trading that and still only moving to 4 or 5 and getting Will Anderson would just be good for them if they do that. But okay, so Rankins, Jack, you said Robert Woods, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Did you say anybody besides Robert Woods?
I said Robert Woods, DJ Chark, obviously. I could maybe see I could see Jordan Poyer being an option.
Okay, you got Poyer. I think Marcus Epps. I think Marcus Epps reunites with Jim Schwartz. He would make a lot of sense. Again, he's another guy at that price point. It just makes too much sense for me. He's not like the biggest guy. He's only 6 foot, but it's the fact that he's played under Jim Schwartz. He knows what his defense is like. And for $6 million a year, 27 years old, it's exactly what you want. He's good in the run game. He's good as a free safety. So we'll see what happens there. If it's not Marcus Epps, though, at safety, I think Ronnie McLeod, even though he's going to be 33 on a 1-year deal, allows you to draft a guy. It's another option. All right. So now we need a defensive end. Let's go. Because I think they'll add a DN. Who do you guys think we're adding at defensive end?
Oh, gosh. I think Yannick is a really good solution just in terms of what he offers, but I don't know how likely do you guys think that Yannick is? If we're rating all of the defensive end options, do you see him as someone who is likely or way less likely?
Less.
I
due to price.
I like Arden Key. I think Arden Key is
that's
more realistic.
I'm telling you, that's who I really want. But apparently Jacksonville isn't even looking at free agents. They're looking to just re-sign their own.
They did. They kind of have a nice squad right now, dude. They just kind of have to add to what they have.
I know. And that would be I hope they let him test free agency. Thanks, Random Cardboard.
Our source, Random Cardboard, has said it here first. Jalen Ramsey is coming 100% confirmed. Smiley face.
Gosh, that would be interesting. That would be interesting from the fact that we have no first-round pick and we already have Greg Newsome who's pissed that he's.
Well, aren't they talking about saying goodbye to Jalen Ramsey over there? with the Rams?
He's probably gone. I think he goes to the Lions.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, to go hang out with his boy, man.
They have
that would be fun.
They have the cap space over there in Detroit. They also own the Rams' first-round pick. I think it would make a lot of sense. I really do. Brad Holmes is the GM too. Over there. Huh?
Yeah. And I think Lamar would probably either go to Detroit or Atlanta. I think it'll be one of those two. If the Ravens, I don't think the Ravens are going to pay him. I think they're going to mess up. I don't think they're going to pay him.
Yeah. Agreed.
Now, as much as it would pain me to not be able to see this guy complete the AFC North gauntlet and play for all AFC North teams, he has to just go to the Ravens. Would you guys be against looking into Larry Ogunjobi again?
I think.
No, he's the AFC I'm not North against it, dude. I don't know.
I'm not against it, but I think that ship has sailed. I really do. I've seen people mention that option. I don't see it, man. I feel like there have been opportunities. I mean, he failed a physical last year, and Browns could have gotten him if they wanted him. Like, he was available for a while, and they didn't do it. I mean, if they wanted him back, he'd be here. And I also think if they wanted him here, they would have found a way to keep him. That's just the way I see it personally.
When did they release him? Didn't they release him right before Andrew Berry got there? I'm trying to remember.
Right before, I believe, and he's projected a $10 million a year contract. I ain't giving that to Larry Ogunjobi. I'm not. That's nuts.
No, not with the market right now as it is. Heck no.
These contracts, man, are just absolutely nuts. They really are. Some of these I just can't. I can't believe some of these contracts. Okay, so Zach, you're saying Arden Key, defensive end?
Sheldon Rankins. Yep, Arden Key.
Okay.
Mark Davenport's out there, dude.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It comes down to price with him, man. I think he's someone he might be one of the first names they call as far as trying to get. But I think
probably
there aren't a lot of options. There aren't a lot of options, though, so I feel like someone's going to overpay for him. He's a talent, though, and he's built. I mean, he is built for a D. Dude, he's 6'6", 265, runs a 4.5. Pair him next to Myles Garrett. Like, that would be – I think they'll explore that one. Okay, let's this is fun. This is a really fun episode.
Tyler's having a blast. Yeah,
dude, I am having a blast. Okay, if we're paying one position, let's say they go $10 million or above at one position in free agency, which I think might happen. Keyword is might. What position will it be?
Dang, that's tough, bro. Why are you asking me all these tough questions tonight? What's going on?
Because it's been 2 weeks, dude.
You're sitting there throughout the week saying, what am I going to ask them this week? What am I going to put them on the spot with this
I'll
week?
Be real. It just kind of comes to me. I just look at stats and stuff and questions come to my mind.
First thing that pops in my mind is paying a defensive end alongside Myles, but safety now too. Like, after you cut John Johnson, you're basically saying I'm making a move at this position. So I really feel like they have something planned. They're gonna make a move at safety. That's what I feel like.
See, I wonder about this because Grant Delpit's going to be a free agent after the end of next year too.
Oh God.
Then things really get interesting. They will really get interesting. If he has the year,
I think they like Delpit. Yeah, I think they like Delpit though.
I think they would tag him
for a good. Yeah, he's gonna be asking for a good paycheck if he has a good year, dude.
Yeah, they would tag. I think they would tag him. They'd
be willing. They'd be willing to pay him too. So
I don't. Dude, it depends because.
Here's the thing, guys. You can only pay we can talk about cap space being a myth. You can only pay so many people. At some point, the bill comes due. Like, are you at that point, Jack? Because I don't disagree with you. Because I do. I mean, we know Andrew Berry likes to reward his own, and those guys he likes to do that for those that perform well. I'm telling you, something would have to give, and I'm talking either Wyatt Teller, Nick Chubb, maybe Amari, but then what do you do at wide receiver? See, those are the questions. Something has to give because you have to get one of those big contracts off your books. So that's the problem. That's why I think they would just tag him. They would tag him for the year and then worry about it later.
Yeah.
But then you'd piss him off if you tagged him, I'm sure. So, because players don't like being franchise tagged. Keep in mind, the Browns have not used a franchise tag maybe 10 years. I think the last time they used it was on Phil Dawson. I'm not kidding.
Hey,
I'm not kidding.
The GOAT. Worth it. The GOAT.
So who do you guys think they would pay as far as position? Over $10 million a year in free agency.
That's what I'm saying.
I think it's got to be
safety.
I think it's got to be someone on the line, like whether they want to go, because we were talking about even before the season ended, just like, do they want to go for a big splash at defensive end or defensive tackle, or just get like average, or a slightly above average guys and just have depth at those positions to make it so that you at least have guys who have done it in the league and aren't just open doors. Because I mean, this year showed us that our defensive tackle position obviously needs a lot of work. That the guys just are not good enough at the current moment. So like if they wanted to go for like a big splash at defensive tackle, I don't think that I would say no to that. I would love to see them make a huge tackle, really shore up the defensive line and make it so it's like maybe the defensive end isn't the best. Maybe the defensive tackle is that second guy that people have to worry about. And then, at least you have some run stopping, make it harder for them to just run the ball away from Miles and make it so that Miles can at least have a chance to make it work. Obviously, end is like an edge rusher is the kind of position that you would want to really support Miles, just because it really does put pressure on those tackles and those guards. But I really think that if they wanted to invest heavily in a defensive tackle position just to shore up the center, make sure that the run games for other teams can't just completely negate Miles, I think that would also be 100% a good investment.
So which one do they spend on? So which
tackle,
one they spend
tackle.
on?
I'll say tackle. I'll just say tackle.
Okay, defensive tackle.
Defensive tackle.
Okay.
Give me Fletcher Cox.
Hey man, I would love Fletcher
I don't think
Cox.
It's happening. I'm just saying names now.
I would love Fletcher Cox. Yeah, Fletcher Cox or Brandon Graham, but I think they're at their age they're just gonna go back to Philly on a 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Zach, what position would they pay?
I'm gonna say defensive end.
Okay.
If I had to go between defensive end and safety, I would say defensive end.
And what about
Harrison alongside Miles?
Safety. We've already seen it. I think safety. If there is a feasible way to get Jesse Bates for under $15 million, that's the key. Under $15 million a year, I think there's a way he becomes a Brown. Mm-hmm. Has to be under 15. I don't think they're going to pay him what he's going to end up wanting. And Atlanta can obviously outbid us. Now, I don't think he's gonna hit the market. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
Something to keep in mind there. And recently just criticized their defensive scheme in the Super Bowl. He would be fun.
That coach isn't there anymore, though. So maybe.
True.
Now he's got Sean Desai, who a lot of Browns fans didn't want. Funny enough. I think Jordan Poyer is not, just due to his age, being 32 and projected to get a pretty decent contract. Von Bell could be an interesting one.
Didn't Jordan Poyer almost lead? No, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was really early on in the season. I thought he was leading the league in interceptions, Jordan Poyer or something like that.
No, that was Gardner-Johnson.
He only had 4 though. But no, dude, he was on Pat McAfee. And they were talking about how he was on pace. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
On pace.
I like Jordan Poyer. Yeah. So maybe it was really early on. I don't know.
It might have been.
Me on it, yeah.
I will quote you. I will quote you on that.
Okay.
Zach Franco said this.
Fair enough.
I think if they pay a position big money in free agency this year, it'll be the safety position. Now, the caveat, if they can get Marcus Davenport for a reasonable price, PFF has him in a 1-year deal. I don't think he's going to look at a 1-year deal, though. I think he wants paid. But if you can get him, Marcus Davenport is makes the most sense, Zach. Like, I will agree with you, Zach. I do think they want to shore up the end. That's easier said than done. I mean, I think every team wants to do that. Now, another reckless speculation. What if the Chargers cut Khalil Mack? Say they would save $22 million in cap space. Oh. They already are in a vicarious situation with their cap, especially with Keenan Allen's contract too.
Oh gosh, I mean, well, obviously, I think that I think I just saw something today saying that they're very likely to keep Keenan Allen. Like, they want to keep him around.
They do want to keep Keenan Allen.
So I think that if Khalil Mack became available, oh man, that is an option that I honestly didn't even think about. But I could definitely see the Browns really wanting. I mean, who would say no to Khalil Mack? I mean, that seems like such a why?
I'll give him 1 year and I'll give him $10 million.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Sure. Still doesn't answer your long-term need at defensive end, though. It does not answer your long-term need at defensive end.
That's why you draft one.
Oh, here we go again. See? The cycle continues. No. You make immediate.
I believe in Alex Wright, though. I just think he still needs time to grow.
Yeah.
Personally. That's just me, though. Okay. Right, anyway, real quick, we have an update on DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know if you guys saw this.
What?
According to Mike Jurecki, who covers the Arizona Cardinals, he has said, according to a couple agents he's spoken with, the Cardinals are looking for at least a second-round pick and another conditional pick for DeAndre Hopkins, and there are conversations that are taking place at the Combine. Dude, I'm not giving up
42. Give him 42, bro. It's DeAndre Hopkins. Give him 42.
I know, but he's gonna be 30. He's gonna be 31. And
we gave away like
paid receivers in the league.
We gave away like pick 17 for OBJ, bro.
It was pick. I'm pretty sure
I would say
it was higher than that.
We also didn't have a number 1 wide receiver.
Now we would have two.
True.
With Watson, with Chubb, with one of the best offensive lines in the NFL when they're healthy. Dude. With Njoku. With DPJ. With David Bell, bro.
I'd give him one of our thirds. I would give him one of our thirds, and I'd give him a pick next year.
Give him 42.
That's what I would. No, seriously, that's what I would do. I'm not giving up 42.
Sorry, bro.
That's just me. I can't do it.
Okay, Tyler.
Yeah, I'm listening.
In half a season, we're talking about 64 receptions, 700 yards.
Jack, I know how good he is.
I know, but you're bringing up age. This was last year.
It matters.
He had the same amount of yards as DPJ. And that's with a midget at quarterback.
Jack, I have to ask you this.
That's with a war zone professional.
So because we have discussed this on this show, the Browns are probably going to extend Donovan Peoples-Jones for about 10 to 11 million a year.
Yes.
So essentially,
listen, I'm not a mathematician. I don't care about the cap number. Okay, I like to play Madden with real players. Okay.
All right, Domo.
Hey, dude, he's right though. Domo is right though. Go get DeAndre Hopkins.
Domo's out here acting like we're getting DeAndre Hopkins and Jalen Ramsey. That dude ain't right.
I agree. I agree. Build a super team. Why not Cleveland? Give us a dome. Give us a super team. Dude,
build the dome by next season. We need the dome by next season. That way we can have DeAndre Hopkins inside with Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm. Make it feel like Arizona weather in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Jack, you made your point. Okay. Now let me make my point.
Okay.
DeAndre Hopkins will be 31 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Each of the last couple seasons, he has had injuries that have ended his season in some capacity. So let me start off with,
Not last year.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He did. I'm telling you. Look it up. Anyway.
What?
He had calf injury last year.
Yeah. DeAndre Hopkins was injured last year.
Yeah, he was injured. Yeah, he was injured last year. Okay. Jack, DeAndre Hopkins will be 31 years old. You already have Amari Cooper, who will be 29 years old. He needs a new deal in some capacity. So Amari Cooper's making $20 million a year. This is the last year of his guaranteed contract. You're in a situation Amari Cooper would be making $20 million a year. DeAndre Hopkins' current contract per year has him at $27 million. That's currently $27 million per year. He wants a new contract after he saw Tyreek Hill make $30 million a year. Keep in mind, Justin Jefferson wants a new contract, and Justin Jefferson's soon to become the highest paid wide receiver in the league. So DeAndre Hopkins is probably going to want $30 million a year at 31 years old, plus a good amount of guaranteed money.
Dude.
So are you okay with losing after this year Amari Cooper and Donovan Peoples-Jones? That's what I have to ask you, because
I don't know. Are we going to have a Super Bowl?
Huh? No.
We're just not going to win the Super Bowl?
No,
you don't think?
Oh my! 1 year.
You don't think you bolster your for 1 year? You don't think if you bolster your defense, you make. I'm not even thinking it has to be DeAndre Hopkins, but you go make those. We're buying in for this window, next 5-6 years at least, right? We're buying in for this. We're gonna go build this dream team in Cleveland.
Who we signing on defense?
Dude, everyone, bro. Dude, we bought the Bucks. We own the Bucks now, bro.
We're bringing in Giannis. Giannis is gonna play. He's gonna play.
Oh, he's playing tight end. I thought.
He
was playing tight end. No, but like that's the thing though with Hopkins. If you bring him in, dude, you're not gonna be able to really address defense. And let's be honest, the biggest thing keeping the Browns from a playoff contender and a Super Bowl contender is a defense. It really is. I don't think the talent on offense really needs upgrade except for maybe another wide receiver. That's what I believe. I think we need another really good wide receiver. But, dude, your defense, besides Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, honestly, besides JOK has been inconsistent. Delpit came on at the end of the year but has been inconsistent. You don't know if Emerson or Newsome, who's going to be there. Like, your defense overall needs completely overhauled.
See, Tyler, here's the thing. Most of the time we talk about Browns and what we want, a lot of it is make-believe, right? We make up these funny stories. Like, even last year, we were like, gosh, wouldn't it be funny if we got Deshaun Watson? Wouldn't that be funny? And then it somehow happened, okay? It's speaking it into existence on accident. I don't actually think this is going to happen because I don't think that Andrew Berry is going to give up a second-round pick and all the cap necessary to actually sign him. But what if he did? Wouldn't that be interesting? Wouldn't that be interesting? Wouldn't that be
It would be interesting. But again, Jim Schwartz would probably be really pissed off because he wouldn't be getting anybody on defense. He wouldn't be. Like, dude, Miles, I honestly, I bet you Miles wouldn't be too happy either. And that is someone that, like Zach said, you got to keep happy.
That's true.
Yep.
That's true.
Like, that's the other thing to this. Oh, man, that was fun. No, you're right. You're right.
Cavs are on, Tyler. Cavs are on.
All right, before we end things, guys, I don't know if you knew this. If you go to homage.com, anyone who's listening to the show right now, if you're a first-time user of Homage and you type in your email and sign up for just alerts, like emails from them, you'll actually get a discount on your first order. So make sure you go to homage.com, and if you haven't purchased anything from there, you guys are missing out. I mean, Jack, what's the best thing you like about Homage and their athletic apparel?
Fact that they have basically options for every team anywhere you want to go. You want basketball, football. Do they have soccer stuff on there? I don't know if they have soccer stuff on there yet.
They
Probably.
do. They do. A brand new Columbus Crew line that's retro. It's got their logo when they first came to MLS.
That's what I'm talking about. Dude,
so that line just dropped, by the way.
Thank you for telling me that. That's actually important information to me. But like the fact that they actually have original Crew stuff, like just vintage Brown stuff, vintage Cavs. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I especially like. And I know that a lot of people really like that old vintage look. So if that's the stuff you want on a really comfortable t-shirt, I mean, or hoodie or whatever, then Homage is the place you got to go.
Zach, your favorite thing about Homage and why it is the number one site for you to go to when it comes to buying athletic apparel?
Retro gear, like Jack said. Retro gear is my favorite, dude. Film vintage in that. Got that nice orange starter jacket. all the Cavs gear too. Everything about it is just so awesome, and it's comfortable. It's so comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I would say too, I mean, the retro look is a big thing for me, but I'll even switch it up a little bit. They have gear that it's modern. It has the modern logo, whatever it might be, modern player, and they still make it look retro. And that's just sweet because there's nowhere else that's like that. And if there are other places that are like that, it's not as comfortable and it's not going to be as affordable as Homage. So again, make sure you go to homage.com. You can get a discount on your first order. All you have to do is type in your email and sign up for the alerts. And newsflash, once you get the discount on your order, you can unsubscribe from the alerts. Done that before. But anyway, be sure to take advantage of all the great deals that Homage has to offer. They have deals pretty much every single day. They're constantly releasing new athletic apparel. And as we get closer to free agency in the NFL draft, you already know they're going to have a bunch more Browns gear. So go over to homage.com. Tell them Network 216 sent you. Guys, thank you for joining us on this edition of the Faithful Dogs podcast and enjoying me being on mute for the first 30 seconds of the show, something we'll never forget. But anyway, all of you guys joining us on Facebook and Twitter, first off, thank you. Second off, if you're not already, just please go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Remember, you can do so for free. Again, that's for free. You're entered in for many different giveaways that we have on the YouTube channel, but it's only available to the subscribers. We actually gave away, like Zach said, a brown starter jacket courtesy of our Homage partner. So if you guys want to be entered in for similar giveaways like that, go become a member of the channel and subscribe. Also, drop a like on tonight's video and all the videos that Network 216 has, as we're trying to grow the channel to an outlet outside of just Northeast Ohio. And join us tonight at 10 o'clock following the Cavs and Celtics for the Cavs Chug. This has been the Faithful Dogs podcast. Talk to you all next week, and go Browns, baby.
Go Cavs.
Comment, sub, hit the bell for notifications. It's free.